Good morning guys. Today we have come to Monte Alban, so I thought I would vlog a little bit.
Monte Alban is a fascinating archaeological site in Oaxaca, Mexico, with a rich history and lots of cultural significance. Monte Alban served as the capital of the Zapotec civilization from approximately 500 BCE to 750 CE. It is one of the earliest cities in Mesoamerica and was a significant economic and political centre for over 1,000 years.
It's interesting coming to this ruins after being at other ruins in Mexico, because this is very, very dry, very desert-like almost. Neither ones have been to, are very tropical and humid. Yeah, very hot, very dry, also very hilly. So you need to be able to walk up steps and up and down hills and things, wear good shoes and also sunscreen because it is hot out here. But I'm now just walking past some tombs.
More than 170 tombs have been discovered at Monte Alban. Some of these contain treasures such as jade, pearl and turquoise, along with finely crafted gold jewellery, which indicates extensive trade networks and the wealth of a Zapotec elite.
So this is one of the viewpoints. Incredible views of the mountains. You've got Oaxaca down there and you can see the ruins as well.
The site is famous for its grand plazas, terraces, impressive tombs and monumental buildings such as the ball court, the observatory and the main plaza. These structures demonstrate advanced engineering and architectural skills.
The hat has gone on because it is bloody boiling. There are people dotted around like this guy who are selling little souvenir things, not that I think we'll get one. I think one of the special things is the plazas like this one that I'm standing in, and also the pyramids, and also the graves and the things that they dug up in the graves. So I think these people here are doing some restoration work, making sure it's all okay. Okay, we've made it to the top of one of the pyramids where all of the people were and all the little clips I've been capturing. Really amazing views up here. So this is the plaza I was just standing at and just talking about. There's 3 pyramids. We're not allowed to walk on that one or that one, but we are allowed to climb this one. That's the big route that's just going down. And then over this way, we have views of more ruins and what looks like a well. Well, I'm not sure they would find water here, I don't know. It seems very dry. And then the views over here, and then if we go this way, this is where you get the incredible views. Okay, this is amazing. I feel like I'm in Indiana Jones or something. That's so cool.
Monte Alban was declared a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1987 due to its cultural importance and contribution to our understanding of ancient Mesoamerican civilizations.
Okay, we are now walking down through all of this. It looks huge, but especially when you see how small the people are right at the back there, you can't even really see them. That's when you realise just how big this place is. So it's interesting, I really thought this would be very, very similar to the other Mayan ruins we've been to. We've been to the Tulum one, we've been to the Palenque ones, and we've been to the Chichen Itza. So we've been to 3, maybe more, that I'm forgetting. And I really thought this would just be the same thing, and it's not. Like, the stones are a different colour, they're very orangey browny rather than whites. There's huge plazas, everything's kind of laid out in a really different way compared to the other ones. There seems to be water wells as well. There's also not as many carvings. Like on the other ones I feel like there was a lot of carvings on the stones, whereas here we've just seen some behind me here. I'll pop it on the screen so you can see. So we've seen a couple of carvings which is really different landscape, buildings, colours, design, everything seems really different. And although it is pyramids, it does feel very, very different. So it's really cool to come to this one as well.
Monte Alban was the centre for the development of writing, calendars and astronomy in the region. The site shows influences from other Mesoamerican cultures, including the Olmecs and later the Mixtecs, who occupied the site after the decline of the Zapotec.
So I did bring my big camera today, but I don't tend to use it these days. I used to photograph every single thing. These days I only photograph things I think I might at some point print off, and I don't know if this at some point I will. So I'll take a couple of pictures, but I'm not sure I'll ever use the photographs. Which is funny because I bring my camera with me and I've got 3 lenses and I barely use it these days, whereas I used to use it all the time back in the day. So this sign basically says that some of the buildings have just been left as they are. They haven't been studied or examined or looked at, so you can't climb it because they're scared that the walls might fall through. But it's really cool that they've just left it how it is, so you can actually see it rather than trying to restore it and things. And yeah, it's amazing how straight they were able to make these walls and how, I don't know, it's really cool.
The site is located about 9 kilometres west of the city of Oaxaca and is accessible to tourists. Preservation efforts are ongoing, with both Mexican and international teams working to protect and study the area. At its peak, Monte Alban is estimated to have had a population of around 25,000 people, making it one of the largest Mesoamerican cities during its time. The art found at Monte Alban, including pottery, urns, and murals, often depicts deities and complex iconography, shedding light on the religious and social practices of the Zapotecs.
So I just wanted to show you this, that some minerals were used to obtain colourings. So for example, ferrous oxides were used for yellows, ochres and reds, malachite for green tones, lime for whites, mercury oxide and cinnabar for red tones. And then also some things like semi-precious stones were used for jewellery, for necklaces, lip rings, nose rings, bracelets and earrings. And then gold, silver and copper were used to manufacture adornments between 800 AD and the arrival of the Spanish. I think that's the part that I find really, really fascinating, is how they know about the different colours and how to create different colours. I really want to go to some fabric shops while I'm here in Oaxaca, because I think you can go to different workshops where they use like beetles to dye the fabrics and different like minerals and things. So I find it so interesting that they knew all that even, 800 AD, 500 AD, whatever it was. It's amazing.
Monte Alban was not only an architectural marvel, but also a hub of social, political and religious activities, reflecting complex aspects of the Zapotec civilization. The population of Monte Alban varied over the centuries, with estimates suggesting it reached its peak at around 25,000 inhabitants during the Classic period, approximately 200 to 700 CE. This made it one of the largest cities in Mesoamerica at the time.
So this is essentially a sundial. They would use it to tell the time. When it was midday there would be obviously no shadow, and also they could tell winter from summer because of the solstice, because the shadow would be longer or shorter. And this was built between 100 BC and 300 AD or something along those lines. I'll pop it on screen so you can see the exact dates and some of the information, but yeah, that's probably one of the first sundials in Mesoamerica. So I've actually just stopped to look at this wall in detail, and can you see all the little stones they put within the cement almost? I don't know if that was decorative or if that was more to kind of make sure that it's sturdy. I don't know, but it's the first time I've noticed this. Jeremy said he's noticed it in a couple of places we've been to. So I'm not sure if they are excavating or restoring. I guess restoring, but there is a little bit of like building work going on here. It's absolutely huge, this place.
The Zapotecs at Monte Alban exerted considerable military and political control over the region. They conquered and established dominance over neighbouring towns and communities, which helped them maintain control over a wide area, essential for trade, agriculture and resource distribution. The extent of their control is evident from the variety of cultural influences found in the artefacts and construction techniques at the site. The site features numerous stone slabs known as danzantes, or dancers, originally interpreted as dancers, but now thought to represent tortured, sacrificed war captives, indicating the militaristic aspect of Zapotec culture.
So I've got you on wide angle. This is the building of the dancers, and basically inside you can see some figurines, or some carvings of figurines that looks like maybe they're dancing, but more recent sort of studies suggest that maybe it was people that were captured and like prisoners, and they were castrated and the blood was given to the gods. So it's a little bit different to what people used to think. So I think the verdict is still out on exactly what the sculptures mean. Some people think dancers, some people think prisoners and human sacrifices. And you can go in that little hidey hole there. It's a tiny little space, and you can look at about 10 or so different carvings. Okay, so let's have a look in here. You do have to duck down to be able to get in. And then there's information here about the gallery of the dancers, so you can pause the video if you want to read that. And if I put you back on wide angle, these are the carvings. So they say that these ones are swimmers and these ones are dancers, but actually I think it might have been human sacrifice instead. So it says, here we find numerous carved stones with distinct human figures in dynamic positions. They have several characteristics in common. They are nude males, the majority obese, with wide nose and thick lips. These features suggest an Olmec influence. It also says that recent interpretations of the reliefs found here view the figures as rulers or leaders from neighbouring towns around Monte Alban who were captured and offered as sacrifices. And then there is marked symbolism of the castration of the figures and the collection of blood, perhaps to offer to the gods or perhaps for use in fertility rituals. And then these couple of ones on the end, you can kind of see the castration, you can see the marks of the blood, like the swirls around the genitals. So that's really interesting to see. Wasn't expecting to see that today when I woke up this morning. So I quite like the decoration of this one, like the edging around, like the decoration around the edges. That's obviously the steps, and then over there as well. Next up, we're climbing this monstrosity, so I'm going to be out of breath by the time we get to the top. So we've made it to the top of this pyramid. I have been sat a couple of minutes, that's why I'm not completely out of breath. Such an incredible view though. It's amazing. I would say so far, we're obviously not finished, but it's definitely worth visiting here because it's so different to the other ones that we've been to. It's so impressive, it's so huge, and with the like flat plazas and things, I'm really enjoying it.
The observatory is uniquely arrow-shaped and is thought to have been used for astronomical purposes, aligning with specific celestial events which were crucial for agricultural and ceremonial activities.
This one's really interesting. It says daily astronomical observation enabled the pre-Hispanic Society of Monte Alban to calculate agricultural cycles, to predict seasonal changes and to determine the proximity of the rainy season, as well as the time to recollect medicinal plants. Also, as a result of these observations, prophecies were made and construction, streets, avenues and plazas were orientated toward the cardinal points. So I've just realised you can actually see Oaxaca from down there, and that white thing is just next to where we're staying, our like hotel. But it's an amazing view of the mountains as well behind. So we are now at the back of the big temple, and these are the views. It literally made me go wow wow wee wow. It's amazing. Oh my goodness, so pretty. So a quick look at the back of the pyramid, the big one.
Evidence suggests that the Zapotecs practiced human sacrifice, particularly as part of religious ceremonies and rituals. The discovery of ceremonial platforms and altars, along with iconography depicting captives and possibly sacrificial victims, supports the presence of this practice. Such rituals were common in Mesoamerican cultures and were often believed to appease gods and ensure agricultural fertility and stability.
So this one's interesting. It says that this building has carved stones which were made between 100 BC and 200 AD by Monte Alban over the other towns. Each stone has the place glyph of Monte Alban, and below is an upside down head identified as representing conquered peoples. So that one seems like the most obvious one to me, where you can see the upside down head. But there's quite a few along the wall, which is really cool. This one is also very clear, the one in the middle of the screen. The other thing about Monte Alban is that there's tunnels, and I think here you can see a little bit of what the tunnels would have looked like. Oh my god, you can feel the cool air, can't you, already? It feels cool even just standing here. So it's currently 11:11 and we have to be at the bus by 12, so we're kind of rushing a little bit and making sure we just see the last little bits we want to see, because it'll take us at least 10 minutes to get back, won't it? So we've not got long to just kind of finish up the last couple of buildings. There's not many more to do, but we do feel a little bit rushed now, because I don't know why, but the bus, we got picked up at 8:30, right? And then the bus home is at 11 or 12, no later. So we're kind of running around a little bit now, making sure we see everything.
The main plaza of Monte Alban was a central hub of activity, serving multiple crucial functions within the Zapotec community. This large open area was meticulously planned and constructed to accommodate a variety of public and ceremonial uses. Here are some of the key activities that would have taken place in the main plaza. Number 1. Ceremonial functions. The plaza was likely used for important religious ceremonies and rituals, which could have included offerings, sacrifices, and public rituals to honour the gods and ancestors. These events were integral to maintaining the social and cosmological order of the city. Number 2. Political gatherings. As the political centre of the Zapotec civilization, the main plaza would have been the venue for gatherings involving leaders, decision-making assemblies, and the administration of the broader city-state. Leaders might have used the plaza to address the people, enact laws, and perform other governance functions. Number 3. Social and community events. The plaza would have been a gathering place for the community during festivals, markets, and other social events. These gatherings would strengthen social bonds and facilitate trade and economic interactions among the inhabitants. Number 4. Astronomical and seasonal observations. Given the sophisticated understanding of astronomy among Mesoamerican peoples, the plaza might have been designed to align with celestial events, such as solstices and equinoxes. Such events could be observed and celebrated here, integrating astronomical knowledge with ritual and social life. Number 5. Military displays and trainings. The open space would have been suitable for military parades, displays of prowess, and perhaps training exercises, serving as both a demonstration of strength to the citizenry and a deterrent to potential adversaries. Number 6. Sports and games. The presence of a ball court nearby suggests that the plaza might also have been used for watching or participating in ball games, which were a popular sport among many Mesoamerican cultures and often held religious significance. The main plaza, therefore, was not just a physical centre of Monte Alban, but also the cultural, religious and political heart of the city. It would have been a vibrant, dynamic area where the economic, social and spiritual life of the community intertwined. Activities here would have reflected the complex social hierarchy and religious beliefs of the Zapotecs, showcasing the plaza's role as a powerful system of communal identity and state power.
So this looks like it will have been the ball game, like the ball court area where they will have played the games. It's way smaller than the one in Chichen Itza. So I wonder if the game was slightly different. I'm not sure. Interesting to see it though. So there's information here about the ball court, but it's similar to the Mayan game, but on the Mayan game they'd have a hoop either side and they'd have to put it in the hoop either side, whereas this one the hoop is in the middle and there'd be teams either side. So it's kind of similar to what we saw in Merida, so I'll pop some footage in. That is in part of my Merida vlog. I've probably also done a separate video for that as well because I got so much content, but this is the ball court. So they would have had a circle in the middle, you can sort of see the circle there. They would have had like a circle up here and then two teams playing against each other using their hips and body, elbows and knees to hit the ball into the hoop. The other thing that's interesting, it says up until this time there is no discoveries in Monte Alban which would suggest that human sacrifice was practiced in association with the ball game. When we were at Chichen Itza, they said that they would do human sacrifice and it was sometimes the losing team, it was also sometimes the best players because they would, sacrifice the best players to the gods in order to get good crops and good rain and things like that. So it sounds like they didn't do human sacrifice here, so I would have much rather have lived here than in Chichen Itza if we're not going to get murdered for not being good at a game, because I'm no good at ball games or sports, so I would not have lasted long in Chichen Itza. If you want to pause the video and read this section, it's actually quite interesting. It says that Monte Alban rests above a series of massive mountains at the intersection of 3 Oaxacan valleys. It's 1,900 metres above sea level and 300 metres above the floor of the valleys below. What's interesting is that they use the hilltops and hillsides for residents, but also for things like finding plants and animals and fruits and veggies and insects and lots of different things. So pause the video if you want to read that. It's actually one of the most interesting panels that I've read today. So these are a couple of tombs in front of me, and what's interesting is the last paragraph. So death was an important issue for the Zapotecs. When a person was buried, the deposited offerings could be made up of objects manufactured from clay, stone, shell, jade, bone, gold, silver, etc. The number of objects, the quality of the materials, and their level of elaboration varied according to the importance and social rank of the individual. The current Mexican tradition of placing food and offerings for the dead comes from this type of pre-Hispanic customs. So these are the tombs in front of me that I'm looking at, and I didn't actually realise that Mexicans put food and offerings for the dead. That's something that's new to me. So we got here at 9:05, that's when we started the tour. It's now 11:30 and we have seen everything. We missed maybe like 2 or 3 panels of information just because we felt a little bit rushed. We thought there was more to see at the end. I think there is a museum we can pop into, but it's taken us 2.5 hours to see things, sit down, enjoy the view, take pictures and videos, things like that. So I think 2.5 hours, 3 hours is kind of the amount of time that you need here. And then this is the map, which probably we should have seen at the beginning before walking through, because I think we were just in a little bit of a, not in a rush, but we were excited to get here and get looking around. But it's interesting, you can just see how big the Grand Plaza is, like that huge space there. So that's there if you ever need a little bit of information about this site. Okay, so we've got about 15 minutes to pop into the museum and still make sure that we are at the bus on time so we don't miss it. Okay, so we're currently in the museum. I'm going to be popping some pictures on screen. I've taken 2, maybe 3 videos so far in here. But there's huge stones that have been carved. Obviously they found them in this site and they brought them into the museum. There's old pottery, there's old drawings, and there's photographs, actually aerial photographs from above, from like 1950s, 1930s, aerial view of the site itself. And I bet that would have been the first time they've seen it from above. And actually one of them had the shadow of the plane on the picture, which I thought was really cool. So it's really interesting to walk around here. There's definitely a lot to see. There's also skulls in the case behind me. There is pottery and decorative items, and yeah, really worth popping in, even if it's like a quick 10-minute run around before you get into the taxi to go home again. Definitely worth popping in to see. There's also a couple of shops here. This one is selling jewellery, and then this one is selling like books, hats, decorative things, any kind of touristy stuff that you might want to buy, magnets, postcards, t-shirts. There is also a restaurant at the end there and bathrooms, so it does have everything you need. Okay, so it's 11:45. We are now heading back down the steps in the big slope so that we can get to the taxi and hopefully be one of the first people in there so that we're not sat right at the back, because I always feel ill and that's always us. So yeah, plan now is to head back, go home, get some food and probably work this afternoon.
Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments section if you have any questions, and I hope to see you very soon for my next video.